Joe Healy with D1 Baseball here, and I am happy to be joined by Auburn head baseball coach Butch Thompson ahead of his team's time in the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. The Auburn Tigers will take on Kansas State, Florida State, and Louisville, and boy, that's going to be three tough games. We will certainly talk about that at the end of the interview, but I also want to get a little insight into the Tigers as we head into the season. First off, Coach, I appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for, us talking about the Tigers in 26 and all you do for college baseball.
I'm kind of curious. We'll start kind of on a broad question, but I'm kind of curious as we record this, we're still a couple weeks away from opening day. But at this stage, what has you excited about this group you have on campus right now?
Just the overall pieces and depth of this ball club. I think that's real. I think people recognize that. It's like we still are having some trouble with the who, maybe compared to others. But you do feel like, man, we could defend in the outfield in all three positions, and then there's a little depth and offensive potential there. The infield is solid and moving guys around, but, it's like Coach Bertman said, it's not the 9 best, it's the best 9. And so we're still trying to figure out the who, but there's pieces everywhere. And then you got a captain in Lucas Steele behind the plate, and a Logan Gregorio that come in from Northern Illinois. And then, you really feel like you got one of the best prospects at the position next year in sophomore Chase Freilich at the catching position, which nothing's more important than that. We have some sophomores that were freshman pitchers last year. They got some great SEC experience. Jackson Sanders, Christian Chatterton, Andreas Alvarez, and then you add some real pieces like we're so excited of a Jake Marciano, Drew Whalen from Western Kentucky, who was a conference pitcher of the year. There's been some real portal pieces to what we have coming back. And then, Hetzler saved 8 games. Is somebody going to help him back there in the back end of that ball game? But at least you have an incumbent that's done it. Griffin Graves is a system guy now in his 3rd year that looks like he has ability to maybe hold down one of those rotation spots. But it's been so competitive. And then last year we had the 3 freshman All-Americans with Terrell Freilich and Rembert. And then we want to continue that. We don't want that to be a 1-year deal. And we're hoping like a Mason McCrane, who just has looked the part and kind of a dual guy and a guy we know we have to invest in, develop. And Ethan Bingaman from California are the 2 freshmen this year that looks like, man, to keep trying to build a complete program, you got to get those guys in. So I ramble around, but to say it's just a lot of guys doing a lot of really good things and probably skill level looking each other eye to eye. How do we separate this in these last 2 or 3 weeks when everybody seems like they're a little further ahead and knowing the roles? Because it's important. Roles are important. Knowing what you're asked to do is important. But it's just a little different for us. It feels a little deeper, a little stronger. And again, is it a positive or is it a negative? I think that's what we all talk about this preseason and wait till you get into the season to see how this stuff shakes out.
When I saw you in the fall, one of the areas where you were still trying to find, as you put it, the who was in the rotation. You had 6 or 8 guys you were kind of looking at there. Would you and Coach Tieford and Coach Foxhall really take a look at that unit? What kinds of traits are you looking for in addition to obviously the measurables, but what other kind of things are you looking for as you look to slot those roles in the rotation?
Yeah, and it's not as simple as I'll answer the question. I mean, we all know that. I mean, there's a simple math equation to controlling the running game, which we got to get better at, the break time, the catcher's pop time, being able to hold the baseball and limit the ability for the base runner to get consistent jumps off of a bad consistent timing, those type things. But we're still driving the simplicity of overall strike percentage. We just feel like if you can get in a flow and leverage a count, the game favors you more. And nobody is going to come in here at 48, 52% strikes and change the game that's been played for such a long period of time. It's just, it puts us behind the 8 ball. It digs holes for you defensively. So we've at least said okay, we got to get to the point. We understand how important the roles are, but at the same time, there's an in the moment, earn it type concept that I don't think's bad either. And these guys are hunting and clawing and scratching, and If we have, if we don't have a Fluky or a Skeens or, along the lines of Casey Mize type deal, then how do we play this thing strength in numbers? Flipping the lineups, the way the game's going to a lot, but opening games and closing games. And hey, maybe one weekend we got 3 starters that would fare better if they threw a majority of the innings, 5 or 6 apiece, to get to 15 to 18 innings. That would give us more of an advantage by all the technology that's involved in baseball. But we're trying to jump off, and we're trying to get these guys to pursue that, wave that one flag of overall strike percentage, and understand how many things are going to go their way and break our way by just the sheer understanding of that. And it feels like we at least got to accomplish the one thing before we get to a lot of these other things, like, the running game is really important, but it is not paramount to success from my standpoint, from the time I've been in the league, of being able to do a good job leveraging the count consistently. And who can do that now? Not a track record of the past, not where you came from, but now. Who can leverage the count the best in the moment heading into the 26th season?
You mentioned the depth on the position player side. That stands out to me as well. And how much of a message has it been, just by necessity, to make sure these guys understand, hey, you might be player number 12 or 13, but that probably still means you're going to have a role to play on this team, just given the quality depth you all have?
Yeah, and you never want to force anything as a coach, as a player. That seldom works. But I do think there's a 12 or 13 position player rotation deeper than what we've had heading into those, 4 weeks before we start conference play. So, because it's crazy. You have fall Americans, and then guys come out in the spring and it's not the same. And then you have guys that you think like, man, their career is over. And then they come out and you can't live without them in the spring. So to take the pitching thing and put it right into the position player things, like we think we got 12 or 13 guys that could legitimately, I could see them being part of the synergy piece for us. Being one of the best 9 players, and, guys that can play offensively and defensively, that everyday type player. If we have 11 of those, we've got to take a good look, because practice doesn't always give us everything that we need. Is somebody going to rise up 10 or 15% or get off to a hot start? And then if we have a little more depth, maybe we can play the hot bat and do some things by having 12 guys really engaged in being part of the process, instead of just like, hey, I think there's been times where we've been a little thinner in depth, especially in the 11.7 era for Auburn baseball, without lottery and without all that other stuff. It's like, there's Auburn's 8 guys, and they got one other guy. There's Auburn's 9 guys. It's a different day for us too, and we're trying to navigate that. And again, I'm hoping that's a positive. The guys have been good, got a good look in their eye. They all want to play, right? This day and time, more than ever, guys want to play. But I still think we're in a good place where Gabe Gross, Carl Nunemaker, and Tiford and Fox, everybody's done a good job of getting these guys back into the team concept thus far. And I do know things are going to separate, but that first month of the season, some awesome opportunities we have to go play great people. We're going to give these guys a chance to see what they can do in game, the way they worked hard in practice since August.
My last thing for you is about the event itself at Globe Life Field. It's a unique setting, obviously. It's tough competition. Why is it important for you to take your team to Arlington? Why Arlington, and why do you have them in this tournament?
Yeah, one, I feel fortunate, Joe. Just one of the premier places, premier facilities, February, indoors, on the hills. This is our 3rd time, and you've got a World Series champion there. Great venue, great town. And I just wrote down a couple of. It's always been it's a recruiting piece for us. It is absolutely a resume builder for us, and it's truly on the road, which gains respect. I think it takes you out of a normal early preseason deal, and it gives you national exposure with that tournament and guys like D1 baseball that are like highlighting these prominent tournaments. It's our 3rd time, so. We've been all in. We've been fortunate to be given the opportunity, but we got to play at Oregon State last year. That's a measuring stick early. We escaped with 1 run. The game could have went either way, but we escaped with something. We actually escaped with some confidence last year. We got all 3 games there, that was like a brick foundational piece of confidence still before you started conference that helped us win a majority of our SEC weekends. I traced that back to this tournament. We'll get to play a Florida State this year, who we've played in the fall, and Link Jarrett. That's a World Series caliber type program. The Kansas State, the Louisville. I think the first time we played there, we got to play a Louisville. We got to play in Oklahoma in 22, and we were both in the College World Series. I mean, you're just seeing time and time again that, not only are you playing great teams, I mean, these are teams that are getting a chance to knock on the finish line. So it's been unique for us. It's helped us so much. I know over half of our 33 of the teams we play this year in 26 for Auburn were top 50 RPI teams last year. So, we're the number 4 national seed last year and done some things the last 4, now heading into 5 years. We're like, is it going to make us last in the league in the middle? Is it going to help us, host a regional 4 out of 5 years? I don't know. But that challenging schedule, like if you can live up to it and compete with it, you can absolutely be given respect by playing over half your schedule against top 50 teams last year. Now, I understand our league helps that. But my point, to answer your question, it has been a no-brainer for us that this tournament has helped size us up. And I think we've had 3 different experiences. The experience has been we won 1, we won 2, we won all 3 of them. Every one of those, whether sweeping it or being challenged and only wait until Sunday to win a game, every one of those has helped the team grow early in the year. I can't think of anything that I've done better since I've been at Auburn than this early season awesome tournament.
Yeah, it should be an outstanding event. Like you mentioned, Kansas State, Florida State, and Louisville, Auburn's opponents in that tournament, 3 really, really strong opponents. Coach, again, I appreciate you making a little time for me at a busy time of year, and looking forward to seeing your team on the field this spring.
Thank you, Joe. War Eagle.